Welcome to the NFL week number 10, guys. The last 2 weeks I've been on fire, 7-1 against the spread, 22-13 on the season, over 60%. Again, this is my fourth year doing this. Getting hot now, and this happens every year. You kind of ride the wave a bit, and then the NFL is streaky because it's so week to week, and we just try to ride this wave as long as we can now. So I put some plays on the Patreon already. I'm scrapping it. This week is so freaking hard. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through a bunch of games this week. Some of these will be on my Patreon. I'm not going to say which ones. I'm going to go back to my Patreon. So for my followers there, just keep an eye out. I will take some out, keep some in, put some other ones in there. But man, this week is hard. When I'm debating taking the Falcons and the Saints on the road as favorites, this is a hard week. Last week we were a perfect 4-0. The week before that we were 3-1. My only one wrong in the last couple of weeks is the Bears, plus 9.5 a couple weeks ago against the Chargers. But we were perfect last week. Had the Chiefs, Bengals, Eagles, had the Steelers as well on the Thursday night football game. So we'll try to keep it going this week. I was going to bet Carolina plus 3.5 on Thursday, but I was like, why even get involved in a Carolina-Chicago Thursday night football game? So I passed. Germany game again this week. We had the Chiefs last week in that game. This week it's Indianapolis and New England. Indy's about a 2-point favorite. This is a really hard game. I mean, I guess Indianapolis if I had to play it, just because New England has shown no anything on offense. They just can't move the ball. They can't move the chains. They can't score points. Indy isn't great by any means. I liked them last week against Carolina, although they had 2 pick sixes, so they put up 27 points, but offensively, they didn't do a whole lot. Minshew isn't great. This is probably going to be a low-scoring, grinded-out game. If I had to play it, I'd take the Colts. Cleveland and Baltimore, interesting game. It's like minus 6.5 for Baltimore. Baltimore plays Thursday night coming up against Cincinnati. So big Thursday night football game for once. I don't know how much that comes into play in this game. This is a big divisional game. Seems like a lot of points. I think when you look at this game, you're probably going to want to take the under. Both teams, I think, it's going to be a slugfest. 2 really good defenses. Cleveland's very good defense, but Cleveland just can't move the ball. Deshaun Watson is not the quarterback he was from years ago, and Baltimore has a really good defense. So I expect a low, grinded out type of game, a 20-14, 20-13 type game, which is right around the number. Hard to bet this game. I know a lot of people will say, well, it's a division game. Cleveland has a good defense, and 6 seems like a lot of points. Baltimore's not really a team I want to get in front of right now. Really hard game to bet. Not much of an opinion, but I expect a low defensive battle in this game. Green Bay and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is minus 3. I think if you play this game, you try to find the minus 3 with Pittsburgh and take it. Not that Pittsburgh should be laying points. They don't have a great offense, but Green Bay's a freaking mess. I think they're bad. Offensively, they can't do anything. They can't move the ball. Jordan Love, I think, will have all kinds of trouble against Pittsburgh. They have 10 days rest. The Steelers at home again. They've been at home for a lot this season. It seems like they haven't played many road games. I think this is their 6th home game already this season. I think the Steelers play good defense. Who knows? I mean, maybe the Packers come in here and upset them and whatever, but I don't see how Jordan Love and this Packer offense can score more than 14. If Pittsburgh plays a clean game and doesn't turn over the ball, I expect the Steelers will win this game. Houston and Cincinnati. Cincinnati's a 6.5-point favorite. Cincinnati have been on the last 2 weeks, took them against San Francisco, took them last week against Buffalo. Not a team you really want to step in front of right now. Do we sell high on Cincinnati at this point, right? Again, they play Thursday against Baltimore. They just came off a big win against San Francisco, a big win against Buffalo. Now they got a big division game on Thursday. Houston's kind of, just that whatever, flat spot for them, sandwich game for them, look ahead spot for them. Do they not take Houston seriously? Do they just want to get in, get out? Joe Burrow in his career is 2-6 against the spread when the point spread is 7 or more. This is under 7. It's 6.5, around that number. It doesn't seem like a lot. I just feel like Houston could potentially stay close. Offensively, they're able to move the ball. They might have some success moving the ball against Cincy, but I have no idea how Houston's going to stop Cincinnati. I could see Cincy easily putting up 30 points if they're engaged, if they're interested in this game. Houston to me is just not a great team. They've definitely surprised a lot of people. They've overachieved this year. Stroud's played great, but the Bengals are on another level right now, different than Houston. It doesn't seem like a lot, and I would tread lightly, but I do like the Bengals at -6, 6.5. New Orleans at Minnesota. New Orleans is a minus. I've taken a break from New Orleans the last couple of weeks because I can't figure this team out. They're laying 2.5 on the road against Minnesota. I think this is a tough game. What I do know is New Orleans is a better team. They're better defensively. They're better offensively. Minnesota, looked good last week. Dobbs came in, and the Vikings, in some ways, are actually more impressive this year than last year because they're doing pretty well for what they have. Injuries this year, they're battling through. The defense is keeping them around. A surprising win for Dobbs in the Vikings last week. But the Saints, I think, are better defensively. They have more playmakers on offense. The one disadvantage, of course, is coaching here. Dennis Allen for the Saints gets outcoached every week. He's not a good head coach. And Derek Carr is so infuriating. I mean, this guy comes to the sideline every third down fail that he fails on. He's ripping off his chin strap. He's yelling. I don't know what he's upset about. I don't. You're the quarterback, bro. You got the ball in your hands every freaking play. Make a play. You kind of got to pass for all these years with the Raiders and all the dysfunction with that organization. You got Michael Thomas. Okay, yeah, maybe he's not the receiver he was from years ago. You got Olave. You have playmakers. You have Kamara. I don't get why. And you have a good defense. So I don't know why, you're struggling so much. It's week 10. Get your freaking shit together. Get in sync with your receivers. You're always looking confused and pissed off out there. You're not Tom Brady. You don't have the luxury of throwing, iPads on the sideline. You're very average. And you should be better than Dobbs. The Saints should beat Minnesota. Just get out of their own way. They were +5 last week in the turnover department, and they didn't cover against Chicago at home. If you're +5 in turnovers, you cover the spread 94% of the freaking time. And the Saints were one of the 6% they still couldn't cover. They won by one time. How do you +5 against Chicago and you scrape by 24-17? I don't get it. But New Orleans, I think, just play your game. Actually, don't play your game. Play better than your game. Get the win. You got to win this game. Someone's got to win the NFC South, and it should be your division. San Francisco at Jacksonville. San Fran's -2.5, -3. San Fran 3-game losing streak going into the bye. Jacksonville 5-game win streak going into the bye. Teams looks like that are going in opposite directions. I like teams that are struggled that go into the bye, clean some things up. They're getting healthy, getting Deebo Samuel back. It looks like might get their offensive lineman Williams back. Jacksonville maybe loses a little bit of momentum. 2 offensive-minded coaches. Jacksonville, of course, has the advantage at quarterback, but I think San Francisco, top to bottom, better than Jacksonville. Jacksonville, an upcoming team, a threat in the AFC moving forward, potentially. But San Francisco is good enough to win right now. I don't know how good Brock Purdy is, but in this system, he is good enough. And he's proven he can be good enough when he gets it out of his own head or when his head's not getting smacked off the grass. So hopefully his concussion healed over the last couple of weeks. San Fran hasn't won in about a month now. I think they get it right. I like San Francisco. Tennessee, Tampa Bay, pretty much a pick 'em. Really hard game to handicap. Tennessee, they're 0-4 on the road. I'd like to pick them this week. They haven't shown they can go on the road and win. They're due, I guess, but and I like what I see out of their rookie quarterback. And I don't like Baker and I don't like Tampa. This is a really funky game. I like Tennessee, but I might stay away from it. Atlanta and Arizona. Arizona is a 1.5-point favorite. As I said before, if you're taking the Falcons on the road laying points, it's a tough week. Arizona will get Kyler Murray back, but he hasn't played in 11 months. This team's a mess. They don't have an offensive line. They don't have anything. I think he's going to be rusty. Atlanta, I think, comes in pretty hungry. They haven't looked good the last couple of weeks. Arthur Smith is somewhat on the hot seat, I guess. He's had some questionable usage of his running backs. He's gotten called out the last couple of weeks. I think Atlanta has more to play for. I don't even know if Arizona really wants to win. They have one win. Maybe they're in tank mode. I don't know. Homecoming for Kyler here, but I think it's asking a lot from him to come in against a pretty good defense when he haven't played in a year. I like the Falcons. I like the Dirty Birds in this game. Detroit and the Chargers. This is, to me, a sit back and watch game. Really hard. Sharp money I've come in on the Chargers. It's Detroit -3, 2.5, 3. Tough game to handicap. It'll be interesting to see. I don't trust the Chargers at all. Detroit's much more reliable. They're coming off a bye. They've looked better than the Chargers, but the Chargers are a team that can win against anyone in any given week if Staley stays away from the stadium and just stays the hell away. Denver and Buffalo, last game, Buffalo was -7.5. Listen, sharp money's coming in on Denver. I don't really get it. Buffalo's a mess, and I've been fading them a lot this year, and it's been great. But Buffalo is a team like Dallas. When they win, they can win by margin. And this is Dallas's, I think, if you include the England game where they lost against Jacksonville, their fifth or sixth primetime game this season. This is a Monday nighter, and they have not covered against a spread. Teams that get a lot of opportunities on primetime typically, at some point, will cover a spread. The Giants are one of them. The Giants, I believe, played this Buffalo team a couple weeks ago, and the Giants were in a lot of primetime games early, and they weren't covering, and they covered that game. It was like 14-9. I think the Bills are due to cover a primetime game. They got embarrassed last week. You're getting them at a discounted price because of that. The Broncos have been playing better, so maybe, again, you get a little bit of a better price. 7.5, I think the Bills are more than capable of beating the Broncos by double digits in this game. So I would take the Bills minus the points. They're due for laying the hammer down. And that's that, guys. Like, subscribe, comment. Take 2 of these and fucking call me on Monday. You know why? Because I have my second pick of the year. My first one was the Bills against the Dolphins way back when. And I said, if I lose it, you could unsubscribe. If I win, you have to join my Patreon. I only had a couple people sign up when the Bills won. So I'm not giving out shit on this channel right now until you guys sign up to the Patreon, because you'd be 22-13 if you did, and stop being cheapsteaks. I mean, who cares? We're in a recession. Who gives a shit? $10 a month, sign up, because I have my second play of the year that's going on the Patreon for my paid patrons. And I'm not giving out crap here anymore. I'm just going to go through games and see what happens. But anyways, like, subscribe, comment. Guys, let's go. Week 10, tough week. Let's just get through this week. I'm already over this week. I don't even want to watch this week. This week's garbage.